Where do women leaders go for real, unfiltered conversations regarding issues we don't often talk about openly? This is the place and the space. Welcome to Still I Rise, where we not only talk about it, we say the quiet part out loud. And remember to chime in on topics you'd like to have us discuss. Join us for Still I Rise. Hello, and welcome to another podcast of Still I Rise. We're so happy that you've joined us. We hope that you are share, like, follow these podcasts. We are having so much fun talking about things that impact women in the workplace, things that they don't often talk about. And just as promised, we said that it won't be just Dr. Sonya Gunnings and myself, that we would actually bring in some other folks. There they are, other folks. And we're going to introduce this phenomenal team that we have with us, minus one person who wasn't able to join us today. But I want to share with you, today we're talking about, what's the title, Sonya, Dr. Gunnings? The title
In God I trust, but I don't trust you.
And we're talking about women and relationships. In the last podcast, we talked about romantic relationships in the workplace and got a lot of good feedback. Thank you for that. But today we're talking about friendships and the impact that they might have in the workplace. There's been some really interesting studies that have been done. There's something that's called the female friendship effect. You all ever heard of that before?
I have not.
Have you ever heard of it? The female friendship effect. And it describes how close female friendships provide significant physical and mental health benefits for women, including, you've got friends. Remember, my daughter told me I needed friends. So this is, she's a psychologist as well. We'll go there another time. But anyway, the benefits include reduced stress hormones, increased feel-good hormones like oxytocin and serotonin, a stronger immune system, improved cardiovascular health, and a longer lifespan, according to the American Psychological Association. People who have friends are more satisfied with their lives. So I had to go find some friends a few years ago, and it has been one of the best things I've ever done for myself and hopefully for these wonderful friends who are with me. So let's start by introducing our friends and talk about friends in the workplace and what we mean to each other and what friendship means in the workplace. Dr. Gunnings, you want to introduce one of them? Or do you want them to introduce?
Okay, all right. I'm going to take Rita.
Rita Kennedy.
Rita is among us. We call Rita the socialite. Rita has her finger, I'm reading notes I took about each of you. Rita has her finger on the pulse of issues, multiple circles. She tells us, she'll text us what it is we need to know about what's going on and what's happening. And Rita has such skill. She will also tell us how we need to dress as well as what we need to.
She's sharp, always.
Oh, wait, hold on. These earrings, take a shot. Courtesy of Miss Rita Kennedy. Thank you very much.
And something else about Rita that people may or may not know, if you know her, is that her dry cleaning bill is probably more than your mortgage payment, because she dresses around the house even when she's not going anywhere. She dresses to the nines even when she's at home, just in case someone knocks on the door. Of course,
you never catch her in a bad moment.
I got kind of caught up. She may have changed that.
Like myself.
TJ Maxx buying some sweatsuits, but anyway.
Like myself, Rita is retired, former State Department director. We always brag about the fact that we got some bad women in our group, but yeah, herself is now retired, so we have time now to indulge in other things.
And that's Rita. We're going to tell you why all this matters in a moment. But
Yep.
And then to my left and your right, we have Teresa Bingman, who owns her own law firm. She is a practicing attorney, not one of these attorneys that just took the test and never did anything. She's in court all the time. Was the judges, working on the Flint water case, still working on the Flint water crisis. It's not a case, it's a crisis. She was also the civil rights advocate and attorney, but she also was, what was the title? The deputy director, head in charge for the governor, deputy chief of staff. The titles, deputy chief of staff for Governor Granholm. Girl's the best. She works for the city of Lansing, and they're can't call it DEI anymore, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
She works with them on that as well. She's mad. She's bad. And then who's not with us? You want to introduce the one who wasn't able to join us today, and not because she couldn't, because of time, but she was scared to.
People don't know what it is that we're giggling about all the time. Shauna is, let's be honest, Judge Shauna is the only one among our crew who really needs to maintain some dignity still, and sort of who needs to keep her reputation and the appearances that and how she presents herself. Most of us don't give a damn, but we care enough.
Curse jar. Where's your curse jar?
Oh, wait a minute. I don't need my jar, but we are not Judge Shauna to protect her right to maintaining her position.
And she was the first female
probate
court judge in the history of probate court in Ingham County.
Yeah.
And that history goes almost 200 years. It's 170 years or something. It's crazy.
Yes.
But what may have escaped you, and I want to point this out very clearly, is that I am surrounded by psychologists, attorneys, and judges. Okay. So, the reason, the Lord knows there's a reason I need all of them. Well, we call ourselves, and they're self-proclaimed, we call ourselves together now, the Fab Five. And we have
Wait a minute, isn't it that 60 and 70-year-old women are calling ourselves the Fab Five?
Who says 60 and 70? You talk too much, but anyway.
The truth.
Because nobody else is going to call us the Fab Five. So
we don't get together enough, clearly.
So we call ourselves the Fab Five. And the point of this whole podcast is that we're like this all the time, but is how important friendships are. And as we talk about what that means in the workplace, and we don't work together, but just having that release, having that extra mental wellness check, it's having someone who tells you the truth. People ask me all the time about who's your mentor and do you have mentors. I believe in a whole board of directors, not just one or two mentors. And this is, someone who helps your mental health, someone who helps your financial health, someone who can your social well-being. But for Fab Five, we do all of that for each other. We're truth tellers.
And, right. And the other point too that I think is an important takeaway, Paula, you and I talked about wanting to make sure we really hit upon is that we've sort of this podcast around how to support women in particular, how to support them and how they thrive and rise in the workplace. The point we don't miss, which is why this particular podcast was so important to us, is includes holistically who we are.
Right.
That includes and how we attend to our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health. So just as all of the data that Paula shared at the onset, sort of relationship among us in our personal life is directly affecting our ability to thrive and strive in our workplace as well. And it's important to recognize and acknowledge.
Talk about women in the workplace and saying the quiet part out loud. A lot of times women are not as supportive of other women as they ought to be. And our birth was created out of a hardship for someone else.
Yeah.
That we kind of came together to rally behind another person. That plus the fact that my daughter told me I needed friends because she got tired of me calling her all the time. So those two factors is what led to the birth of what we now call the Fab Five. And it doesn't matter what you call yourself, but according to the Kaiser Family Foundation, advancing the report they did on advancing the future of women in business, they surveyed 1,500 executives in 2023 and found that connecting with others was at the top of the list for women. So let's talk a little bit about what this friendships and what trust means, and even the vulnerability, because they know more about me than you will ever know if you're listening to this. And we know more about each other, and that's a safe space to talk about that. So let's talk about what the friendship has meant in terms of our own lives. You want to talk, Rita? You want to go first?
Well, for me, it's a support system always. The honesty that I can get from these women is important. If I have an issue, I can bring it to them. And we are very diverse in how we approach things. And you can get different aspects of a solution or a question, a problem and a solution, which is very rewarding for me. I mean, and I feel that they will always support me. If I'm doing something wrong, or they think it's wrong,
Yeah.
they will tell me
Yeah.
it's wrong.
Like what you eat
They
and what you drink.
will tell me, but they still have my back, and I know they still love me. So I feel like I can be totally 100% honest, whatever I do or say.
What's that? The garlic, onion,
Oh my
tomato.
God, yeah.
Oh God, I wish she would put that down, but she needs to give it up. It is
Onions
repulsive.
and tomatoes and blue cheese dressing.
Yeah.
Oh, it is the best. The
Yes,
best.
but you stink.
I know you tell me that.
It's
Stay away
absolutely
from
horrible,
both.
Rita.
But I still eat it. It's good for me.
And so, I mean, just having that kind of dialogue is important. Teresa, what do you got to say?
It is a support. So in any type of relationship, friendship, if you have a true friendship, you have to be willing to be vulnerable and willing to accept whatever feedback you receive for different things that you say, what you do. Well, this group, they don't hold back on it. They will come with it in different ways based on their personalities or lived experiences, but you can rest assured that it is authentic and that you are in the center of whatever comment they make, that they believe that they could help you in some way or enhance your current situation in some way.
Sonya, what do you want to say about this network of Fab Five?
My actual circle of friends is very tight, but when it comes to five, we're texting each other throughout the day. I am disclosing, and as Rita said, being quite frank in my thoughts. I appreciate the authenticity and the acceptance of one another.
Do you think women can be friends in the workplace? Can find these kind of friends? If we all work together, would it be the same? Yeah, and
So
this is not to say these are our only friends. Well, for me, it might be.
Right. It is for you, Paul.
I have other friends. I have people who really care about me, but
I just
care about. I know. Thank you. But when you talk about, we should probably even define that word "friends" and what that means. And we've all talked about the vulnerability, the trust, that we can say anything, that you have the courage to tell the truth, that you can have your true, authentic self on display all the time, and they love you. What's that saying that this person knows me and they love me anyway? That's
right.
What friendship is. And although we might have other people, literally, I chose not to have a lot of friends. And I'll tell you why, because I give too much. A friend to me is like a family member. It's like whatever you need or want, I'm there.
Yes.
And if you have 15, 20 people that you're calling your close friends, that could be exhausting. So you have to open yourself up in order to find the right type of friend.
That's right.
And again, was birth created as a result of someone going through a challenging time, and it just worked. But it took me a year and a half to figure out which one of these group of people to do that I literally wanted to have come over, sit down and chat and talk. But
I think that is an aspect of the friendship circles that women form. And I think you're absolutely right. I think we're very guarded about using the word friend and friendship. I use them in a much more limited manner. Everyone else are associates or witnesses. And then also, shit, now what are you going to do? So,
curse jar.
But also, a true friend knows that about you and know about each other. And we support, like Rita says,
what does vulnerability mean in the workplace? Can you have friends in the workplace and still be vulnerable and still be trusting? Or is that even a possibility, or does it have to be outside of the workplace? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I
Anybody?
think you can have, I don't work anymore, but I have had
Yes, you do.
friends in the workplace, good friends in the workplace. I don't share the things that I share with you,
Mhm.
Fab Five, but I share a lot of things. What's going on, it's something that happened that we're all in a meeting together and we see it or hear it the same way, and we process it the same way. And we go out to dinner and lunch, etc. I've had good friends in the workplace.
Are those called friends?
If
Is there
I
another
invite
name
you
for
to
that?
my home,
That's a friend.
I would
That's
think
a
you're,
friend.
and I don't invite everybody to my home.
Yeah.
So
Right. And like Rita, I've had friends in the workplace, and some of those friendships have lasted. In fact, there were a group of us who worked together who started a group that's kind of similar to Fab Five. But
What do you
we
mean, similar to fact?
similar to Fab Five in terms
Impossible.
of the connections, the
Integrity,
love for one
honesty.
another and our families. But once an individual from that group left the group, it changed the whole dynamic.
how did they leave the group? You mean they left the workplace, or what do you mean they
Left the group by death. I didn't want to put
Oh,
anything
okay.
dark in
Oh,
this.
okay.
It changed the whole dynamic. But a few of those friends I've remained close to, but it's just not the same. And I know that Sonya has stated a number of times that Paula is the person who not only holds us together, she's not going to allow this friendship
No, no.
to be severed in
No,
any way.
yeah.
And another feature of this particular group is that we know what's going on in our family lives. Our children know who we are, they know what we do. In fact, sometimes my kids will pose a question and they will say, "What would Fab Five say about this?" And they're serious. They want to know.
Right.
Too long ago how I text my son and I said, Taylor, coming into town, can I, bring him over to your house? Is it Fab Five? And I said, no, not this time. And he texted me back, then no. But just like Teresa said, our kids have become invested in us maintaining this relationship. The other
Your
thing
family knows that
Yeah.
this group is very supportive to
Yeah.
each other,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they don't want anybody blocking that love.
Right.
I mean, they don't want people
Yes.
coming to our home with drama
Yeah.
and trauma,
Yeah.
and they know the
Yeah.
Fab Five's not
Right.
gonna do that. That they're gonna
Yeah.
bring support and love.
Yes.
And so, and again, when we talk about women in the workplace and high stress and the C-suite jobs, having these kinds of connections can make a huge, huge difference.
Absolutely.
Someone that there used to be, what's the movie that they used to have on Sex and something,
The city.
Sex and the City? Remember that group that used to go around? They
Mhm.
weren't, I don't know if they had high stress, but just having that kind of authentic, natural,
Oh, yeah.
easy friendship can really help in terms of mental, physical health,
Absolutely.
etc. How do you handle
Yeah,
disagreement?
I just want to, can I, piggyback on that, Paula, that because it's important. I think that women who are in the workplace, who are for leadership and so forth, are real clear about boundaries as far as how much that we might need to compartmentalize, as Rita suggested there, but you're limited to how much you share. But we also need to acknowledge that there must be some way, particularly during challenging times in our lives, when where we have to be able to process what it is, and keeping that just within can literally make you sick.
Right,
Because
exactly.
it wears on.
Exactly.
And I'll be quite open, you all know that recently you were there for me
Mhm.
going through a very challenging time for my mother. It was burdening and weighing on me in ways that I would not talk about and did not talk about with anybody else. And that is something I needed to do to keep me
Right.
playing
Right.
that particular role. But that is an important aspect of these relationships that I don't want us to miss.
Absolutely. Talk about disagreements, how we handle when we disagree. And it's a lot of times, there are people who disagree and you never talk to them again, never speak again, or
Yeah.
they hold grudges for
Yeah.
days, or
Yeah.
they remember when,
Yeah.
Rita ate that tomato, onion, and garlic stuff and then sat next to
Yes.
me on the train, or what's, talk
Well,
about this.
I'll let you all answer that one because honest, you know what I do, and it's not very healthy. I just text
Humor.
you I text you bitch, and then
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
that's it. I'm done. I've moved on. But then,
And
so
you know,
I'll let
you really know when she's
that in a
mad
more
when she
healthy
says,
way.
"I'm not talking about this anymore."
And that's how we kind of deal
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
We know how far we can push an issue, I
Mhm.
believe.
Yes.
And at a certain point, we just let it go and move on. Sometimes with the urging of another Fab Five, but that's how we kind of
Yeah,
resolve
yeah.
conflict
Mhm.
or disagreements.
Right.
And it keeps our relationship healthy, I believe. And it gives us an opportunity to kind of reflect on, should I really take this position? Am I right about that? Should I think
Yeah.
about it a little more?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't really know you need people around you. I was one of those who thought, you just do what you do, go home, you got a great family life. You don't need anyone else around you until you get someone else around you. You realize how much you were missing. You get friends around you. I mean, we're members of organizations, sororities, other organizations, links, whatever. That's different as well. So people often say, well, I go out and have drinks with this person, go out and have drinks with that. But that's still different for women in the workplace who are in mid-management, high-level suites. You need to be able to unload and know that nothing's ever, like Sonya said at her last podcast, if Paula drops dead, I'm taking her cell phone.
Take mine too, Sonya. That happens
Hey,
to me.
I'm like, Teresa, get to the scene, snatch your shit right away. Because we're all going down.
Because there's so much on, and it's not even just because we're lifting up other women. All of us lift up other women. It's not even that kind of catty kind of thing, but just talking about real issues. And someone used an example, a personal example. I was with my daughter for the last month, who just had a 3-month-old baby, and she had to have emergency surgery. And I'm sitting there all by myself taking care of the baby, and all of a sudden I thought, I'm alone here, in her house with her husband's with her. I just texted the Fab Five and said, pray, I mean, I hadn't even told him she was going in. I hadn't told him, but all of a sudden I just felt like I needed that extra surge of energy, of emotional support. I don't need you to call me. Don't need you to talk to me, but just know that you're there. Just know that you're there. And it made such a huge difference just having that release. And I can't imagine people in the C-suite, high level executive women, how much you have to carry.
Oh, yeah.
And then just being able to call somebody, not through alcohol. Sorry, Sonya, but not through alcohol. Rita.
I cut that.
She's calling us out.
And they know, and I'll tell you, they know I don't drink. So not through
That's
alcohol.
okay. We got you covered. Rita and I got you covered.
Somebody has to drive. But having that kind of release is so important for all of us. Yeah,
Yes.
we were going to say. Sonya,
No, I just said Rita covered in that regard. But no, we've had some fun. Other thing that we do that I look forward to, as difficult as it is times, is we make us getting together at least once a priority in each of our lives. And so again, back to this being intentional about making what's important in your life a priority, starting with yourself, but what it means to connect with us as friends. And so, yes, we are pretty committed as a Fab Five that we get away once a year. Hard as it is, that was actually, Teresa alluded to it, one of the most difficult, frustrates the hell out of me, trying to get you all to just, oh my God, is it New York or is it Chicago? We can't get past that. And then it's which and the other thing. And so, okay, whatever. But what never changes is our commitment to be together.
Right.
We're going to be together.
But in the time that we have left, we've got very little time left, but talk about one thing that you all recall in terms of our relationship that you remember, a story that you want to share, connect with. It doesn't yeah, that that kind of helps define who we are. And those of you, please like, share, subscribe, follow this podcast. And again, we're just trying to stress the point again, the value of friendships, the value of connecting outside of the workplace, in the workplace, if that happens, but having a true, authentic friend, finding some, again, older age, older in my life, that I actually started looking for some real true friends. And I don't mean that I didn't have any, I just meant a different level of friendship, not the friendships that I saw and that we all see and have every day, but a different level, a deeper dive, and what that has meant and what it can mean for you, those of you who are listening, in terms of your own well-being. Consider that as you move forward. So stories, anyone want to share a story in the time that we have left? A few.
I'd like to share a quick story.
All right.
And the whole theme of this story is that we understand one another's strengths and we feed into them. So this story took place maybe 5 or 6 years ago. One of our trips to Chicago, we went to a comedy club. And so Paula always makes sure that we get tickets up front to wherever we go. So
Yes, we
we're
deserve that.
seated up front.
Yeah.
And we decided that there will probably be some exchange with the audience.
I remember
We
this.
knew who would do the exchange, and that is our Sonya. And so we quickly appointed Sonya as our spokesperson. And true to form, Sonya performed. In fact, she probably performed as much as the comedian because he was bold enough to interact with us.
He just didn't know.
I kept going, I kept saying, no, don't want to go there.
So that was a good memory. We have many of them, but that is just one example of how we understand one
Yeah.
another's strengths and we know how to feed into them.
You got a story?
I don't have a story.
You don't have a story? So I got a story about going over a sewer.
Oh,
We were waiting. First of all, we can't get in.
Now, are you going to take?
We can't get in a Lyft or Uber without Gunnings sitting in the front row next to the driver, asking them where they're from, where they're born, how many babies, mamas they got, asking, and we're sitting in the back doing this, exactly what Rita's doing now. Anyway, and I'm sitting there going, oh God, what happened? And by the time that we finished wherever we're going, the driver is always so enamored and so in love with this woman that they want to take her out, want to do things, because people don't talk with them that way. And it's a story about how you can just get connected with anyone, whether you understand what they're saying as they're driving, because I'm from a different country and they're not speaking the same language, and she still talks to them.
In fact, he told us we could get out.
Yes.
He decided to stay in the Uber with him.
Until such time that we were waiting for someone and we were over a sewer, and they opened the door and the smell just permeated the entire, and we started looking at each other, particularly someone who eats onions and garlic and cheese. And to this day, we don't know if it was the sewer or if someone needed FDS. And then we found out from the Fab Five who actually carries a little bit of extra FDS. Just in case they need it.
That.
And I thought, what is FDS? And they said, you might be the one. That's the story.
And so now,
yeah, that story.
now I'm going to tell my story.
All right.
Since you all have just put me on Front Street like that. And Rita, I'm not going to share the story of getting engaged to the wino on the street. Okay?
Mrs. Johnson.
I'm not going to put that one out there.
Thank you.
But it does get to this notion of trust. And I want everyone listening to this podcast to understand why, as much as these women mean to me, they also given me reason to understand why I don't trust very well. So let me tell you all what happened. We're in New York, and they all know I'm an early to bed rise.
Uh-oh.
They decide, yeah, you're uh-ohing because you all know you did me dirty. They decided after a long day, dinner, play, everything, I was exhausted.
She doesn't tell us
to go to sleep.
No.
I needed to go to sleep. So then I'll decide, no, we're going to go look at the lights and carry on. I said, no, I'm really tired. I want to go back to the hotel. And then I fell asleep. I'm not talking to the three of you. I'm talking to everybody else. So I fell asleep in the Uber. I wake up at the Uber, in the Uber in front of the hotel. The driver says to me, ma'am, wake up, wake up. I wake
So it
up
gets better each time.
in the
doesn't
damn
it?
car. I'm sitting in the damn car by myself. I said, Jesus, my friends. And that man said to me, you don't got no friends. you don't got friends. You need to go. You need to go. These broads had Uber by myself with some strange man.
And ladies and gentlemen, that ends our
Take me to the
podcast.
hotel.
Share, subscribe, follow.
I'm
Whatever
done.
you do, Still I Rise podcast, whatever you do, I'm cutting her off before
Have
she
chips,
tells
but don't
too much.
trust too much.
And some nonprofit organization will be getting a lot of money from the curse jar for this session. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, or whatever you do. Find a friend. And if you have a friend, cherish that friend. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching. Still I
Bye.
Rise. Bye.